Hey guys, welcome to Brokati Cycki. My name is Mula Pixie,
Freya Flame.
Colette de la Creme.
and today we would like to talk a little bit about age, but not in terms of aging, but age and burlesque, and how it goes after the career, what's our plans, what we would like to do after all, how you see yourself in 5 years in this position, this kind of things. And that was the topic proposed by Colette, honestly. And I'm really curious, what are your thoughts about this topic?
Okay. So I recently saw an interview with Dita Fontees where she was complaining that people are, 'cause she's like 52 or she's in her early 50s, right? So people are asking her about perimenopause, which I'm also going through perimenopause, which is why I always need 10 windows open. Because I feel warm all the time, right?
Yeah, she is warm and I feel like I'm sitting in a fridge.
Yes. So it's like I'm offering like we need the guy from The Shining with the bear suit to come give you a hug so you'll be warm. Sorry, The Shining again. I don't know. So Dita was saying, well, what does that have to do? What does what my reproductive system is going through have to do with my career? She got very annoyed, right? And she was talking about how to this other interviewer who wasn't asking her that. She was saying, like, I get annoyed when interviewers ask me that. And it's like, well, yeah, of course you do, right? I'm 49. I just turned 49 recently, and I want to keep doing burlesque. As long as, like, the bones and muscles are working, I want to keep performing. So that kind of brings up the issue of how do we treat performers who are women, let alone ones who use their body, like burlesque performers or dancers, as we age? Do we have an audience for burlesque performers who are no longer in their 20s and 30s? That's my question. I hope the answer is yes, because I'd like to keep doing it.
Yeah, in Poland you can find burlesque performers who are very young, like 25, but also girls who are after their 40s, 40 something, and they still do amazing shows. So why not? And this is also my plan. I always wanted to do burlesque at least 15 years. I started when I was 26, so 40, 41, that's my goal. But of course, if I feel good once I'm 40 and my muscles and everything will be okay with me, why not do this longer? And of course, if burlesque still will be
A thing.
I think
Always be.
yeah, I mean, as long as we have audience, I would like to perform.
Me too, definitely. Because, the thing why I love burlesque, it's so adjustable. So even if you're in your 50s, 60s, it's still something you can do. It's just a matter of how you feel about yourself and you feel comfortable getting on stage. But it doesn't matter if you still can do splits and things because, no one is actually expecting that from you. But I'm just also thinking about the thing that in Poland, burlesque is still something really fresh and new. Like when it started like 14 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that, right? So we do not have a lot of performers who are, let's say, I prefer word, really adult. Mature, yeah, because this is something that it's relatively very fresh in Poland and mostly driven by younger performers, but we don't know how it's going to look like in 10, 20 years. I believe that, if we will still continue performing, this audience will also, grow up with us. This is how it works.
Yeah. Well, I think we have to wait at least 5 years more to see what will be the next steps of the, let's say, first generation of Polish burlesque. Yeah, but ladies, I believe in you. You will still do amazing shows.
So there's a documentary that I watched, I can't remember how many years ago this was, about burlesque. And there was a woman who was 60 and she was doing a chair dance. She was doing a stocking peel. And she was around like maybe slightly smaller than me or around my size. And I remember they also showed the actual performance when she got on stage and the reaction from the audience, and people loved it. She had worked so hard on this act, and it was so smooth and so perfect. And she was 60 and her daughters were there and they were like, my mom is awesome. My mom is so beautiful. She just did this and she's 60. And random people in the audience loved it. There was like one guy, he was a little bit geeky. He's like drool. I mean, it was like, that was like so beautiful and so inspiring. And I have to say that I love that. I love that people are that embracing. And also that it shouldn't necessarily just apply to burlesque. I believe it should apply to other elements of dance as well. I mean, I know it can't apply to ballet, although it should, maybe, I don't know. But other elements of dance like maybe samba or belly dance or other forms of dance where you don't have to retire as long as your body can still perform the thing that you do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought when you're, let's say, 50, 60, but you still have something to present. You still have, this vibe, this flow. Your body still works, and you still look good while moving around. So why not? Did you see the movie The Last Showgirl?
Yes.
Exactly. There was a moment in this movie that Pamela Anderson, the main character, she's coming for a casting as a dancer, and the guy from the jury, he says that you were in a burlesque show in a razzle dazzle group because you were young and beautiful. You don't have any talent. I don't want to judge it because we don't know what happens with the character, what happened with her before we met her when she was young. Maybe that's true. Maybe her only, let's say, good points were that she was young and beautiful. We don't know it. But I think it's a bitter but important message for all the performers that you always have to present some level. And if you can still do this while being 50 or 60 or even 70, that's great. Use it.
Yeah. But as you said, it's always about this thing in you, this glimpse in your eye, this something, this kind of energy that you are bringing to stage. And it doesn't matter how old are you. Because I know some performers in their 20s and they are not that much energetic as some really like adult ones. So, we have some phone. We have some phone call. Wow. Hello. It's me. It's Moonlight Pixie here.
Please keep talking.
That's live. We are not professional podcasters. So
Guerrilla style.
Exactly. We are recording at home and those kind of things happening all the time.
The toilet's gonna flush, bitch. The toilet's gonna flush. All I'm saying, the toilet is gonna flush.
We have our animals around and, we are just recording in our natural environment.
The natural habitat of a burlesque performer.
Exactly.
Call Krystyna Czubówna.
We need her here. Exactly. So, But anyway, my point is that it's always about your inner energy and what you would like to show and how you want to be perceived by the others. However, I'm very fresh performer. I'm started like 1.5 years ago. So for me, it's honestly, I'm not feeling, experienced enough to ever even make a prediction of my career in the future. I'm still feel like I'm exploring this field, and this is something still very fresh to me.
Colette, want to add something?
Yeah. So this is all really brilliant, I think, because we're different ages and we're all at different sort of points in terms of like where we started and where we want to go and all of that. And it is something that you might want to think about at some point, right? You don't have to obsess about it or whatever. But to go back to The Last Showgirl, I want someone, maybe it'll be me if I ever have money and a crew, I want someone to make a film called The Last Gen X Showgirl. And I'm sorry, but I have to say, Gia Coppola needs a slight upbraiding because I really hated what she did with Pamela Anderson's character. I personally hated the way that her character was portrayed in the film. And I was so excited to see that movie because I love Pamela Anderson so much. And when you watch the trailer, you get that final shot in the film, which is like 3 seconds. And you think that the film is going to be like that. And then it's literally just like shots of Vegas, which is fine. No shade on Vegas, but then you just have this character who to me feels very, very immature, and she feels kind of like behind the times and kind of slightly narcissistic and sort of out of touch. And I'm not saying that as an actor that wouldn't have been like a fun role for Pammy or whatever. It might have been a very fun way to sort of exercise her ability as an actor. So it's no shade on Pamela Anderson, but I honestly kind of feel like that was not how I was hoping the film would go. And yeah, so I kind of always felt like I wanted to say that, but, and also, you finally found a way, and I didn't think this was possible, but you finally found a way to make Jason Schwartzman completely disgusting. Completely disgusting. That scene where he's like telling her like, sweetheart, you're not selling that anymore. I'm like, that is good acting, very good acting. So disgusting. How dare you treat Pamela Anderson that way? So
Especially Pamela Anderson.
Not on my watch.
not on our watch. Not on our Baywatch, you. So this is our like little 2 cents, yeah.
But I think this movie was, speaking not about the character development, but the general situation about the system that failed. Because you have to remember also there is not only Pamela Anderson and the Shelley character, but we have also her friend, I forgot her name, but it was played by...
Kiernan Shipka or the other girl?
No.
Yeah, there was.
Help me.
Sorry, I'm not really good with actor names and etc. But I know what.
Yeah, I see her face and I can't remember her name. Jesus, I'm so sorry. But anyway, she's older than the main character, than Pamela Anderson, and she's still...
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, exactly. And she still has to work as a waitress, although she looks a little bit tired. She should be on a retirement, take some rest, do her hobby, but she still have to work in a restaurant or a bar with a casino.
Yeah.
And this is sad. So I think that Gia Coppola really wanted to show mostly the system failure instead of showgirl life.
Yeah. No, I get that. I fully get that. And I'm not mad at that aspect of it. And I thought that everybody who showed up in that did a really beautiful job. Even Jason Schwartzman, but that was so disgusting. But it just made me feel sort of angry because I kind of feel like I would like to see, and I know that she's also talking about the end of an era and all of that kind of thing, but I would like to see a different style. If we're going to talk about aging and dancing and performing, let's also show what is possible, and let's also show what is beautiful and still good. So there's a new RuPaul movie. Not, oh gosh, they're gonna come for me. Oh my gosh, not because of aging, but there is a new RuPaul movie. And so that's more the style of movie that I was kind of hoping to see. But it's not even, yeah.
Okay, so you expected something like a more happy ending and showing another decade of life as new possibilities, not like a very ending and go and die.
Yes, thank you for your diplomacy.
No problem. All right, so would you like to add something more?
I think I'm good.
That's it.
Okay, thank you guys very much for watching us. Remember to follow us on Instagram and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.